If you're anything like me, some Sunday mornings you're looking ahead to the end of the service because after the service comes lunch. And lunch is great because you get to have some good food, but the thing that I really love about lunch is that I get to sit across from someone and have a conversation. And I like doing that at lunch or at dinner or half-price apps, just probably not breakfast because I'm not really conscious at that point in the day. But one of the people that I've maybe most enjoyed sitting across from is this guy named Brad. And Brad was in my youth group for years, and then he graduated, and I lost touch for a couple of years, and then we connected again. And I got to hear a little bit of Brad's story as we would have a meal together on a weekly basis. I got to understand how Brad, after graduation, had fallen away from his faith a little bit, had put his relationship with God on the back burner. And Brad wasn't back yet by any means, but sometimes we'd kind of edge toward that conversation of where he was at with God. And there was one time where we were sitting across from each other where Brad was able to verbalize where he was at with God. And he started talking about a desire to get back to where he was with God. And in that moment, I thought, what do I tell someone who has had a relationship with Christ but then fallen away and is now thinking about maybe it's time to come back? Perhaps you've been in that same situation as Brad was in. Perhaps in some big or small way, you've fallen away from God. You've not tended your relationship with God, and you've put it on the back burner, or maybe even turned your back. I know that in some ways I've done that in my life. Or perhaps you've been on my side of the table in that conversation, and that you've been sitting across from someone and wondering, what do I tell this person about how to come back to God after straying away? Well, this thing of putting your faith on the back burner is not a problem that only college students have. It's not a problem that just Americans have, or even that just people in the 21st century have. It's a problem that has plagued the church since the very beginning. And it's a problem that was addressed by a guy named James in the first century. And we're going to today read what James had to say to some people who proclaimed that they were Jesus followers, but then did some things that were not very Christian. We're going to look it up. It's in James chapter 4, verses 7 through 10. James 4, 7 through 10. And just before this passage, James tells the people that he's writing to, he tells them that their issue is that they are trying to be friends of the world. And they don't understand that being friends of the world means being enemies with God. And that is not a place that they want to be. And it's not a place that James wants them to be. And so more than advice, he is directing them with an imperative. This is what you need to do to get back to God. Let's read James 4, starting at verse 7. Submit yourselves to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Come near to God, and he will come near to you. Wash your hands, you sinners. Purify your hearts, you double-minded. Grieve, mourn, and wail. Change your laughter to mourning. Change your joy to gloom. Humble yourselves before the Lord, and he will lift you